Some late-night encounters leave more questions than answers. A strange woman in Yemen claims to be an angel. A ghostly figure in burial wrappings appears on security footage, and a guard swears he spent his whole shift with someone who was never really there. These are mysterious moments caught on security cameras. This clip comes out of Yemen. It was 2 a.m. and this guy was sitting at the counter of his store when a woman walks in. A very unsettling looking woman. She looks very pale. Now, that's not all that frightening in itself, but then she starts acting kinda strange. She asks the guy why he's listening to the Quran, then gets real close, like right up into his personal space, and it clearly freaks the guy out because he recoils a bit, at which point the woman says, "Don't be afraid, I'm an angel." She goes to leave before turning and asking who passed away. The man says nobody, and she asks one more time before finally leaving. She also asks for money, but the man tells her he has none to give her. An odd interaction, but at 2 a.m. in a corner store, not unheard of. What is unheard of, at least according to the store owner, was the woman's feet though, which he said looked like horse hooves. So, was this woman really an angel or something else? This footage was uploaded by Raxi Music on TikTok. A man in charge of the CCTV camera got a notification that someone was on the premises, only it was after closing. There wasn't supposed to be anyone there. Well, looking back at what the camera picked up, they saw this. So that looks like a ghost boy with glowing eyes just lurking about. Probably the last thing you'd be hoping to see when watching security footage back. This video is being referred to as the Pocong ghost. A Pocong comes from Indonesian and Malaysian folklore, believed to be the spirit of a dead person trapped in its burial shroud. Now, it's hard to find info on this video. The original upload is in another language, and I don't know why the ladies filming this start to sing Sigma Boy, Sigma Boy. It's weird, but if anyone knows more about this, just let us know down in the comments. I'd certainly like to know more. Working the overnight shift, it can be pretty spooky. I used to work as a dishwasher overnight, and I'll tell you, I got some chills time to time. Never anything quite like this though. So here we see the security guard sitting down at a desk, likely watching the cameras, having a chat with a new coworker. Strange thing is though, this supposed new recruit doesn't show up in the footage. Certainly looks like he's having a conversation with someone though. Does a fist bump at one point, having a conversation, and this security guard insisted that there was someone there. See, the next day the security guard was coming in for his shift, asked why nobody told him that a newbie was going to be joining him on his shift the night before. Everyone just looked at him confused. There was no new security guard. He was the only one who was supposed to be working that night. This next clip was posted to Reddit by dirty_money. You may want to watch the volume on your headphones here. The start of this next clip is pretty loud. So we see this lamp violently shake. Looks like it's about to fall, but then it just abruptly sits back into place. A few seconds later, we hear this loud, deep thump. Sounds like it's coming from above. Now here's what the Redditor had to say. Just to give you a little context, I work from home, and on this particular day, no one else was home with me. I heard a loud bang in my garage. I got up to see what it was because it was extremely loud, and of course, I didn't see anything abnormal. So then I looked back at my Wisecam, and this is what it captured. So some commenters have said it might have been a rodent, but that would have to be a pretty large rodent to make a lamp move like that. A couple people said it could be a raccoon, but if it was a raccoon, I mean, you'd think you'd hear it scuttle off, but we don't. Everything just goes silent. Plus, the homeowner didn't see anything when he got to the garage, let alone the fact that raccoons don't usually come out during the day, usually. Plus, what was the loud thump? It seems like that's what drew the guy to the garage, not the lamp moving. Anyway, what do you all think of this one? Let us know down in the comments. This piece of CCTV footage recorded in Bangalore is pretty eerie. The camera, mounted on the front of a building facing the street, captures what looks like this faint, translucent shape moving across the road. It doesn't appear to be a trick of the light or a camera glitch, at least not in any obvious way. The figure does have this vague human form, but it moves in this steady, unnatural manner. Locals say this junction has a reputation. According to people living nearby, there have been a number of deadly traffic accidents over the years. Some have reported seeing this strange light kind of thing moving through the intersection late at night. Others say they felt something pass near them while walking the same stretch of road, describing feeling this sudden cold gust of air. On September 27, 2014, 30-year-old Kayn Lauder was seen on surveillance footage leaving her Murray, Utah condo barefoot in the rain. She appeared to be talking to someone, but no one else was visible. It was the last time anyone saw her alive. Kayn, a social worker, had no documented history of serious mental health issues, though her family had experienced trauma. Her brother Colton was sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2009 for killing their uncle. Their mother insisted Kayn had been doing well, though, updating her resume and actively job hunting after over a year of unemployment. The night before she vanished, Kayn made a series of strange 911 calls. At 9 p.m., she reported a violent fight in her condo's clubhouse and mentioned that there were firearms drawn, but when police arrived, they found a wedding reception and no signs of a disturbance. About an hour later, she called 911 again, but hung up. When police returned the call, she seemed disoriented and unsure of her own address. She told them her roommate believed she was delusional and paranoid. The next morning at 8:18 a.m., she made one final 911 call, claiming someone had broken into her home. Hours later, cameras recorded her walking out of the building barefoot and lightly dressed despite all the rain. On December 7th, her body was found in the Jordan River 5 miles from her home. The autopsy found no illicit substances in her system, and there were no signs of foul play. Her disappearance, death are unexplained to this day. From Reddit user T always helps comes this video with the heading "Ghost in the Bar" or just "Dodgy Shelves." So I work in a hotel bar in England. People say the bar, restaurant, and kitchen are haunted. I don't believe in ghosts, but I'm gonna ask the Reddit world what they think. The people that have experienced these events think there's a ghost. So this one is pretty classic, right? You got glasses falling off shelves for seemingly no reason, a wet floor sign falling down. Actually looks kind of like it was tossed, although we don't see a hand. It's not the craziest footage, but the fact that the place apparently has a history of odd things going on definitely adds to it. And a commenter made an interesting observation saying, "This is so interesting. The glasses are on mats on those shelves, which makes slipping off harder." Mac1611 posted this piece of footage to Reddit, writing, "My father passed away in this house earlier this year. Yesterday was his birthday. I kept getting motion notifications on my camera last night, and I recorded this in real time." So here we can see the camera shifting position, like it's tracking something moving, but clearly there's nothing there. Or is there? We do see what looks to be this semi-translucent mass intermittently floating around the chair. Interestingly, one commenter asked if the uploader's father used to sit in that chair, and Mac1611 responded saying that he used to sit there and watch the weather every night. In December of 2020, Reddit user KaraForever2084 and his wife were helping a friend move when something unexpected was caught on their friend's Ring camera. The doorbell cam, mounted on the front door window, sent a motion alert while the three of them were just outside wrapping up for the night. No one had noticed anything unusual in person, but when they checked the footage, this shadowy shape appears in the frame. "We were the only people there," the user wrote. "We were just outside the door. None of us saw anything with the naked eye." The short clip shows this dark silhouette moving past the door. The uploader said that it didn't match the size or movement of anyone that they were with. The homeowner had no prior issues with the camera and said it had worked reliably before and after the incident. But with no one else on the property and no obvious explanation, it's unclear who or what showed up on that footage. In 2017, Jennifer Hodge of Atlanta lost her 23-year-old son, Robbie, to what she believed was an accidental overdose from fake Xanax. 2 years later, something strange happened that made her feel like he may not be entirely gone. While watching TV in her bed with her daughter Lauren, Jennifer received a motion alert from her Nest security camera. The app said a person had been spotted in the kitchen. When they opened the image, they were stunned. "Mom, that's Robbie," Lauren said. She just said, "Mom, look, it looks like Robbie." I was stunned, and it did look just like him. Beard and all, Hodge recalled. The two women alone in the house ran to the kitchen, but there was no one there, and no sign of a break-in either. Jennifer later shared the image and her experience on Facebook, saying, "I felt like he was letting me know he is happy in heaven. That brings me some comfort, but I still just think it's weird. I'm in awe. Why did this happen to me?" The incident is still unexplained, but for Jennifer, it did feel like a message from her son. One final check-in.
These trail camera images serve as a chilling reminder that the woods hide secrets, some of which might never fully be understood. Whether they capture strange creatures, restless spirits, or mere tricks of light, each one carries a sense of mystery that's quite hard to shake. Here, unexplained mysteries caught on trail cameras that still haunt scientists. Number 10, alien caught on camera. In September 2024, this mysterious figure was caught on camera. Its movement activated the trail cam, and it appears to have a glowing body and an orb-shaped head. This is one of those eerie sightings that sends shivers right down your spine, especially with all the drone stuff happening. Is this an alien? The soft, otherworldly glow that it gives off only adds to its unsettling, odd appearance, making it seem as if it's straight out of a sci-fi nightmare. Its form seems definitely unnatural. That's not an animal for sure. Now, some say it is an optical illusion, possibly lens flare or a strange reflection off the lens, making it appear far larger than it actually is. Yet the way the light plays around its figure leaves many wondering, could it be something we can't explain? Or is it just another trick of the eye? Either way, the mysterious nature of this alien image still holds a creepy allure, leaving you to wonder if there's something more out there. Number 9, ghost woman. This photo comes to us from Brandon Cottrell. They say, quote, "When I was setting up the trail cameras that day, it felt like I wasn't alone outside. The eerie part is that a young woman went missing in this very area back in the late 80s, and despite years of searching, they've never found any remains. That history combined with this photo, remind me to never go in the woods again. I'm just gonna stay inside forever. We're good." It's hard not to imagine that whatever was out there that day could have been linked to the disappearance, as if something or someone has been watching the area for all of these years, just waiting for the right time to reveal itself. That was spooky. Sent shivers down my back reading that one. Whenever I do this with my hands, is how you know it's real. Number 8, ghost snake. What in the world is this? This strange figure zipped past the camera not once, but twice, leaving us all scratching our heads. It's completely unexplainable, especially considering it was caught in the middle of nowhere, deep in the upper Midwest. No one can figure out what it is or where it came from. The way it moved so quickly, so purposefully, has us questioning everything. Could it be something we've never seen before up until now? Or is there another explanation that we're missing? I can't figure it out. I can't even think about what animal this could be. Last I checked, electric eels don't fly, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I have a coffee bean or something stuck in my... something in there. It's right there. I feel it. Number 7, Montana Grim Reaper. This one comes from a user, and they say, "My grandpa lives in rural Montana, and one day one of his friends from town came into the local bar looking completely shaken. So my grandpa then said that he was in a state of shock almost. His face was as pale as a ghost. He was reluctant to show the photos at first, worried that people might think that he was losing his mind. More than fair. He owns a big piece of land and has trail cameras set up to track wildlife. That part's not weird. But when he went through the footage, that's when he found something quite odd. My grandpa's wife sent the photos to a nearby university for analysis, and to their surprise, the professor couldn't explain what they were looking at. So what do you think this is? Or who? Any ideas on what could be lurking? What are your best theories? Comment down below. Number 6, Chain Man. This user anonymously posted this photo online with an eerie backstory. They say, "My uncle set up a trail cam at my old grandparents' house, which is now abandoned." Abandoned, that's the key word here. The camera takes 3 photos every time it detects motion, but this strange figure only shows up in 1 of the 3 shots. They have no idea what it was. They say, "I'm not saying it's a ghost, though I don't really believe in that stuff. Hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's for sure a ghost. Either there's a man living there or there's a ghost living there. One of the two. Good game. Thanks for sharing." Number 5, the last hike. Dalen Kaloa went missing during a hike on the infamous Haiku Stairs, also known as the Stairway to Heaven. ironically enough. On the morning of February 27th, 2015, Dalen told his family that he planned to hike this dangerous, illegal trail. Now, throughout the hike, he sent several photos to his family, but in one image, they noticed something quite strange in the background. They noticed an unidentified man just standing there, almost lurking, watching his every moves. Dalen never returned, and despite extensive searches, he was never found. So now, of course, his family is seeking the public's help to identify this man in the background of the photo, believing, of course, that he might hold vital information that could lead to Dalen's whereabouts. This haunting mystery remains unsolved, leaving many to wonder, could this unidentified man provide the key to uncovering what happened that day? Or even worse, was this man responsible? Number 4, Battleground Ghost. In 1862, 3 major battles were fought in what now is the Maryland section of the Appalachian Trail. Now, the sheer number of casualties in these battles of course create an eerie atmosphere, with many soldiers losing their lives on that land. Today, hikers report seeing ghostly soldiers, strange campfires, and even hearing cannon blasts echoing in the distance, almost as if the spirits of the fallen soldiers are still present. Now, one haunting site is near the farm of Daniel Wise. Visitors to the area have claimed to see ghostly figures wandering the land, adding to the chilling history of this part of the trail. This photo here was taken in May 2015 in that exact same spot. Do you believe this is a ghost from a civil battle? Comment down below. What do you think this is? Number 3, Halloween Ghost. Captured, of course, on Halloween Day 2023, this eerie image shows what appears to be a ghostly figure, a ghostly white figure clinging onto an old tree. Now, the form is faint, almost human. Not quite, but almost there, and it's blurred, and the low quality makes it seem like it's drifting between this world and another. It raises the question, could it be a simple trick of light with the sun casting strange shadows through the branches? Perfectly explainable? Or is this someone or something who has quietly been watching from the shadows all along, only now revealing itself to those who look closely? This looks a lot like something I saw when I was younger. I always wondered if I saw a ghost or if I was just seeing things. Now I'm starting to think it's the former. Number 2, Headless Deer. Like something straight out of a dark fairy tale, this image captures a deer that, well, seems to be missing its head, doesn't it? Wandering the forest with an eerie sense of purpose. Perhaps, where's my head? Maybe that's a good purpose, trying to find that. Its disembodied form stirs an unsettling feeling, as if it's lost, aimlessly drifting through the woods, haunting anyone who crosses its path. Now, I know this is most likely an illusion, but the way the deer is angled, I'll be honest, I really can't see how its head can be positioned in order for this to happen. Imagine seeing this on your trail cam one morning. Ugh, I would be sick. And finally, number 1, Mount St. Helens. On May 18th, 1980, David A. Johnston, a dedicated volcanologist, stood over Mount St. Helens, aware of the growing signs of unrest. Now, given the date of this photo, you can probably guess what happens next. This was 13 hours before the devastating eruption, and he made his last transmission over the radio. He said, "Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it." And he was not wrong. Those haunting words echoed into silence as the volcano did erupt, sending ash and destruction all across the landscape. Now, despite extensive search efforts, David's remains were never found, except for this photo, which of course leaves behind a chilling reminder of nature's unpredictable power and the sacrifices made, all in the name of science.
From a mysterious figure appearing in a basketball coach's footage in the Philippines, to an unidentified killer in tactical gear roaming a Texas church, and unsettling 8mm film revealing a chilling discovery in the woods. These are mysterious, unexplained things caught on camera around the world. This first video showed up on a news segment in the Philippines back in 2003. So a basketball coach was filming one of his training sessions, just a normal day with the kids out on the court. Everything seemed fine, it was sunny, no drama. But when he got home and started reviewing the footage, he spotted something weird. In the background, across the street, a kid suddenly runs by. Now, why would this catch his attention? Well, the coach didn't recognize the kid at all. In fact, he didn't even see him there while he was filming that day. It was like the boy had just materialized into the video. He rewound the clip again and was totally creeped out. Alright, maybe he was just freaking himself out. Maybe the kids had seen this mysterious kid. Well, he had all his basketball kids watch the video too, and they all freaked out. None of them had seen the mystery kid either. And on top of that, they started telling him about how they'd had this strange feeling that day. Some of them even mentioned feeling cold chills during the practice, which made no sense because it was hot out. It was summer, it's the Philippines. Wanting answers, the coach had the video checked by a professional editor. After examining the footage, the expert confirmed the mystery figure was definitely there. There were no signs of tampering and no digital tricks. What you're looking at here is security footage captured inside a church in Texas. The identity of this person is still unknown. On April 18, 2016, 45-year-old fitness instructor Missy Bevers was found dead inside the Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas. She'd gone in early, around 4 a.m. to set up for one of her boot camp classes. By 5 a.m., a student arrived and found her body. She'd suffered multiple puncture wounds to the head and chest, and a hammer was also found nearby. Surveillance footage from inside the church, taken shortly before the attack, showed a figure dressed in full SWAT-style tactical gear, a black helmet, a vest, marked police gloves, slowly walking through the building. The person is seen opening doors and just casually smashing windows. They had a noticeable limp or some kind of awkward gait, possibly dragging one leg at times. Police still haven't even identified though if the suspect is male or female. Strangely, nothing was stolen either. Missy's iPad and personal belongings were left untouched. The church's exterior cameras weren't working that day, and investigators never released footage showing the actual encounter. It's believed that the killer waited inside and ambushed her. The 2010 to 2012 Nissan Altima was caught on a nearby store security cam, circling the parking lot around 2 a.m., flashing headlights and acting suspiciously. That driver was never identified. Missy had also been receiving strange LinkedIn messages from a man before her death. We don't know if that's connected or not. To this day, even with all this footage, no one knows who killed her or why. This eerie footage was posted to YouTube by Chad Logan back in 2012, and it's been a complete mystery ever since. It's just 5 minutes of this creepy 8mm footage. Most of the video is pretty innocuous until it gets to the woods. Here we see the camera person following this old woman into the woods before we're eventually led to a cloth sack on the ground. The camera person gets up close to the bag and opens it, revealing what looks to be human hair, and then a full human head. There's only one other video on this person's channel called Bitterroot Photos. Here we see Chad holding up a series of old black and white photos which supposedly came with the reel of film that he received. For context, he was a student at a university in New York. He just moved into a studio apartment and needed some furniture. Found a guy on Craigslist that wanted to desperately get rid of his things at super cheap prices. He sold things in bulk to get rid of as much as possible. Chad bought a small table, and with it came a bunch of other random things, one being this old wooden box. He had to force open the lid with a screwdriver, and inside he found these old pictures. The word Bitterroot was handwritten on the backs of all of them. There was also a tin can that contained a reel of 8mm film. To this day, we've never gotten any updates. Notice anything strange about this next clip? Yeah, where the hell did that dog come from? So this video comes out of Chile, was posted to YouTube back in 2015. What I like about this one is that there's a very good reason for someone to be filming the road. There's a street race happening. Sometimes I watch, supposed real ghost or cryptid footage, and I'm like, alright, but why did they have their camera out in the first place? Anyway, this one looks pretty convincing to me, but what do you all think? Let us know down in the comments. This is the last known footage of a man named Steven Cocher. Back in 2009, Steven was living in Salt Lake City, Utah. He'd quit his job and moved down south to St. George, hoping to start fresh, but things weren't exactly going great. He couldn't find steady work, money was tight, and life was just kinda stuck in neutral. Then out of nowhere on December 12th, he up and left town. The next day, Steven calls a couple of his friends and tells them he's in Las Vegas, but he doesn't say why he's there or what he's doing. That's the last time anyone ever heard from him. A few days later, police find his car parked in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Henderson, Nevada. Nothing's been stolen, nothing really seems off. He even left wrapped Christmas presents in the back seat for his family. A doorbell camera from a house in the neighborhood caught Steven on the day he disappeared. You see him park his car, calmly cross the street, walk down the sidewalk, and then just walk out of frame, and that's it. That's the last confirmed sighting of him. No one knows why he was in that neighborhood. It's not a rough area, it's not near anything he was known to be involved with, and he didn't know anyone who lived there. His phone was pinging towers for for a couple days after that, but then it just went dark. Some people think he might have faked his own disappearance, like maybe he was just overwhelmed with everything. He was broke, wanted to start over, but it's been over a decade now, and there's never been a single clue about where he went. If you heard a voice calling to you from another room, only it sounded just like you, what would you do? This clip was posted to TikTok by Andy Winehouse, and I don't even care if this is staged, it just gives me the goosebumps. Just the idea of hearing your own voice calling to you from the next room, it sends a shiver up my spine. The uploader also wrote in the comments, "For extra clarification, I thought it was the TV or my wife watching one of my TikToks at first. I called her immediately when I realized it wasn't her in the other room. I waited about 3 minutes and the voice stopped, but footsteps continued for about 12 more minutes." In Plattsmouth, Nebraska, there's a place called the Museum of Shadows. A lot of creepy things are said to go on here, but this video actually showed up on Fox News. So in the early morning hours of February 2nd, 2018, museum owner Nate Ratnerman checked the cameras and spotted something straight out of a ghost movie. Inside one of the museum rooms, a small ball, what paranormal folks call a trigger object, starts moving. Of course, there was no one else in the room at the time. The ball doesn't just do a lame little, roll either. It lifts off the ground like it's being picked up by some unseen hand, and then it gets chucked across the room. You'll notice at one point it's sitting on the floor and then bounces into the air. It's not being thrown from off camera or something. The museum sits in a building from 1881 that used to be a saloon, with a brothel upstairs where a number of people reportedly died. This next video comes out of a hospital in Mexico. Here we see a doctor being filmed with what has to be a mid-2000s flip phone. Just gotta love that early YouTube 240p quality. Suddenly though, something weird happens in the background. Watch the double doors behind the doctor. You can clearly see a dark figure pass by. It's not a light trick, it's not a camera glitch. Something clearly moves behind those doors. Well, alright, so no big deal. It's doors leading to a room someone just walked by. Well, the camera operator reacts. He clearly wasn't expecting anyone to be back there. So he walks over and opens the door to check things out. And inside we see, well, nothing. At least no living person. It's just this empty room with medical equipment, and one piece of gear is slowly rolling, like something just brushed past it. And if you look closely back at the shadowy figure and how it moves past the door again, it almost looks like it doesn't walk, it kinda glides. You don't get that up and down motion when a normal person walks, it's just fast and silent. Reddit user Baroness von Schrader posted a couple of photographs taken at their aunt's wedding in 1966, and one of them looks very off. The first picture is normal, just a happy bride and groom. The second picture looks normal at first glance, but look at it for more than a couple seconds, and there's clearly something off about this image. Just what is that ghostly looking figure in between them? Clearly the uploader didn't know who it was, because they took the time to post these images. Well, the Redditor also attached one more image, a photo of their aunt's grandmother, who'd been dead long before the wedding photos were taken. What do you all think? Did the bride's long dead grandmother make a visit from beyond the grave? This final clip comes from Reddit user Stuart James Author, who'd been carrying out a paranormal investigation at Oxford Castle. He hadn't noticed anything odd while filming, but when he reviewed the footage later, he noticed a couple very unsettling things. First, while passing by a window, he spotted what really looks a lot like a ghostly face peering in at him. Take a look. So, did you spot that? Here it is zoomed in. This next one is kinda hard to make out, but as he turned a corner leading into a dark hallway, he spotted what looked like a humanoid figure leaning up against a wall. He said he hadn't seen it when he was filming initially.
A Moss Bluff man has been found safe after surviving 2 nights in the woods of Liberty County, Texas. About 60 searchers were looking for the 23-year-old. Authorities say Godet told them he simply got lost.
When I first saw her, she was standing upright. I thought, this is unreal.
It almost looks like a flame, man.
How it flickers?
Yeah, it looks like a flame out there.
Look, it's red on it now.
It's coming real close.
Yeah, you see it? It's going red now. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the forest encounter. Being in the woods at night is never not scary. Even if you're an experienced outdoors person, there is just something unsettling about the secrets the woods like to hold. This video is absolutely no exception to that. This video was taken back in 2006 in the Catalonian forest, where two men and their families were on a camping trip. I'm not entirely sure what led up to the men taking this video or why they were walking around the forest at night, but regardless of how they got into this position, what happened next is something I'm sure they will never forget. As they walk deeper into this forest, something catches their attention. They see what looks like a mysterious creature on top of a tree branch. As they see the creature, they obviously stop walking and are filming it, scared for what it might be. The forest is of course full of dangerous animals, so it's always good to proceed with caution, but I'm sure these men had no idea just how scary this creature was about to become. As the light from the recorder shines on the creature and the men try to get a closer look, the creature turns its face to look directly at them. The creature's eyes glow in the light with a human-looking head but an inhuman-feeling aura. The men quickly book it out of there, and I have to say, I would do exactly the same thing. After experiencing something like that, I don't think you could ever catch me in the woods again. In our number 9 spot today, we have the skinwalker in the woods. This creepy video was posted to TikTok by the user Adrian Montenegro02, and it was supposed to be just a casual video showing a camping trip with their family that they were taking near Monterrey in Mexico. It should just be a nice casual fun family trip, right? Wrong. Of course not. This video shows the family all hanging out together with one member being pushed on a swing by a couple other members. This is all fine and well, but it's what's in the background that really has viewers concerned and definitely had the family freaking out when they reviewed the footage. In the back, you see a creepy figure moving around. This figure is pale and human looking, and it just moves around quietly like it's trying not to be seen. Is it hiding from the family? Is it planning something sinister? After posting, many viewers began putting forth their theories. Some believe the figure seen in the back is a skinwalker, while others believe it is someone who lives in the woods waiting for their moment to strike. At the end of the day, whatever this thing is, it is sure unsettling, and all I can ask is, why is it watching this family's vacation? In our number 8 spot today, we have Bigfoot? Would this list truly be complete without the sighting of a supposed Bigfoot? This video comes from 2015 when a man named McCamey reported seeing a strange, unexplainable creature hiding in the woods. McCamey was kayaking in a swamp close to Tampa in Florida when he heard a noise, and then he began to see some strange movement. He started recording what he thought was likely a bear or a similar kind of animal, but as he got closer he realized that something more unusual was going on. The creature began to navigate through the alligator-infested water with ease, and it began using its arms to swing through the branches, which is something that isn't really commonly seen with bears, as far as I know. Some people believe this video is a hoax, while others believe this is full-blown proof that Bigfoot is alive and well and living in Florida. What do you think? In our number 7 spot today, we have a cult meeting. This next video comes from a group of friends who were on a casual hike, enjoying themselves, getting some fresh air and exercise, but little did they know they were about to stumble upon something a lot more sinister than a typical day outdoors. As they are hiking on the trail and up a hill, they look back and see some kind of weird secret cult or secret society type meeting. These people begin walking, dressed in white robes, and while that obviously isn't any kind of a crime, it's bizarre, to say the least. The person who took the video also posted another video of this strange encounter because these people didn't just look creepy, they were also making creepy sounds. I can't tell if the sound is music, singing, chanting, screaming, I'm not entirely sure, but whatever it is, it was all creepy enough for these guys to stop their hike, record, and post it on the internet for all of us to watch and wonder, what exactly is going on here? In our number 6 spot today, we have the backyard horror. This video starts off with someone recording in their home. We quickly find out that the reason they started recording is because they noticed something strange in their backyard. Never a good way to start off a video. He apparently was hearing weird voices coming from outside of his house, and of course wanted to record as he investigated, and well, Good thing he did. He turns the lights off inside so that he could see what was going on outside better, and, well, absolute nightmare fuel ensues when he does this. As he turns the camera to the dark backyard, he suddenly sees a human-like creature come darting towards him. The figure appears to have come from a bush in the backyard, and who knows how long it had been there for. What is so creepy to me is that this creature clearly knew he was looking into the yard at this point, so I want to know how long it was there for, watching him through the windows. Also, what the hell is that thing? Let me know. In our number 5 spot today, we have the creepy figure. This video starts off with a group of men riding their motorcycles through the woods, which honestly already sounds challenging enough. The video seems to be progressing as one would expect until things take a turn for the worse. Quickly, the video descends into terror and madness as they realize that something or someone is chasing them. You can hear one of the men yelling and screaming for help as the other men in front of him begin to pull over and try and figure out what is happening. That would be absolutely jarring to be just on a fun day out with your friends when suddenly one of them starts screaming for help. Absolutely terrifying already, but I don't think any of the men were expecting to see what happens next. A creepy human-like creature can be seen chasing the men, and when one of them gets off the bike, it begins coming up to the bike and toward the group. The men are caught between being utterly terrified of this encounter while also trying to protect their bike from damage or being stolen. You can absolutely hear the panic in their voices as they try to figure out what exactly is going on. In our number 4 spot today, we have this weird creature. This video comes from Australia, which is of course the land of creepy creatures, and whatever is caught on this video is certainly no exception. The person who captured the video was driving through a deserted forest at night, which just already feels like you're asking for trouble. As they are driving through this creepy area and recording, something appears in front of the car. This creature, whatever it is, although it doesn't look like any animals that I know of, quickly disappears just as quickly as it did appear, moving in a strange and very fast way. Let's take another look at this thing, but slow down a bit. Honestly, I have no explanation for what this is or what it could be. Some believe it's a skinwalker, others believe it's a demon. Whatever you want to believe, let's just hope you never cross paths with it. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Appalachian Trail footage. This next creepy video comes from someone who was hiking by themselves along the Appalachian Trail. He was resting in his tent, again, all alone, when suddenly he began to hear a terrifying screeching sound. I guess when you're out in the wilderness all alone, you really have no choice but to investigate the creepy sound. Better to know where it's coming from than just wait and see and hope for the best. He gets out of his tent and begins recording the sound as he calls out for any response to what could be making this horrifying sound. You can hear the fear in his voice as he tries to shine his light and see as far as he can in the pitch black wilderness. The noise sounds as though it's getting closer and closer, and you can faintly see shadows moving in between the trees as if something knows he is there and is coming to take a look. At one point, it even looks like you can maybe see the reflection of eyes off in the distance. It isn't quite clear exactly what he encountered that day, but whatever it is, I wouldn't want to meet it face to face. In our number 2 spot today, we have the creepy man. This video was taken in a remote area in Montana, out in what appears to be some kind of forest area. Now, a lot of the videos on today's list feature unknown creatures and creepy looking things, but this video looks like it just captures a man. The man gives off a kind of weird vibe to begin with. I mean, he's just standing alone in the woods, which is kind of weird, but the people recording call out to him to see if he's okay, if he needs any help, just to double check, which, you know, that's very nice of them. Unfortunately, instead of just a regular casual encounter, this man suddenly turns into an absolute nightmare. The man begins to move towards the people recording, but not in a normal human way, in a creepy crawling way that would make anyone feel absolutely disturbed. Was this just a creepy person trying to freak someone out, or was something a little bit more paranormal at play? And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the graveyard ghost. Okay, I'll be honest, this video doesn't take place on a trail or in the woods, but it does take place somewhere equally as creepy, and that is a graveyard, perhaps one of the creepiest places on Earth. It isn't quite clear exactly where this graveyard is, but the person who took the video had initially gone there because they apparently had been hearing some strange noises coming from the cemetery for several days. I feel like if I had heard a strange noise coming from a cemetery, I'd probably call the police, or Ed and Lorraine Warren. The last thing I would ever do would be to take it upon myself to investigate. The curious video taker is clearly braver than I because they went to explore and definitely found more than they had bargained for. I have absolutely no idea what this thing is, with its elongated limbs and creepy posture. I'm not sure how the person taking the video was able to stand there for so long, but I feel like fight or flight really took over in this case. Was this a ghost, a demon, a zombie? Honestly, at this point, the possibilities are endless.
So this guy's near-death experience was filmed on camera. Now, I don't know if this is the only near-death experience this man has had, or if this is just one of his many adventures, but my god, by the looks of it, this guy must have 9 lives. He was off-roading, I guess, when his car started rolling backwards down a cliff, but he manages to roll out of the vehicle just in time. Take a look at this. That is absolutely insane. A second or two longer, and he would have been tumbling down the cliff with his car. Very likely would not have been found alive at the bottom. I mean, this is some action movie maneuvering right there. Anyway, I doubt his insurance will cover this mess, but at least he made it out with his life. Is that a snake in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? Oh, God, no, that's actually a snake. Thai snake rescuer near Kwai Thai posted this video to Facebook earlier this month, extracting a venomous snake from a man's boxer shorts. And no, the snake didn't slither into his underwear drawer and then hide in his boxers. This poor guy was actually wearing them at the time. Take a look at this. So the guy had woken up feeling something slithering around in his underwear. Probably started out as a pretty nice dream, to be honest, but it quickly turned into a living nightmare when he realized there was actually a venomous snake chilling right on top of his precious jewels. New fear unlocked. There are some really scary things you can wake up to. You can wake up to a fire, an intruder breaking down your door, a shadow person looming over your bed, a short clown dancing in your room, your sibling sleepwalking. They're all high up on the list of scary things to wake up to, but this is bad. I don't know if this man will ever be the same again. He's gonna go to bed with a diaper taped to his thighs the rest of his life, probably. Poor guy. Moving on from a near-death experience from a falling car and a snake in your pants to some spooky ghost footage. I told you this list was gonna be a grab bag. The video was posted to Reddit by user Blondie in the Woods. There's some backstory to it, but we'll get to that in a second. First, let's give the video a watch. Did you see that? Yeah, that was spooky. Blondie in the Woods writes, a little backstory. My husband's best friend used to live in the house in the video. He caught some crazy orb ring camera videos and always felt something was in the house. He ended up getting a divorce and sold the house. A couple months after the new owners moved in, an old neighbor got a hold of my husband's friend and told him that the new owners wanted to know if he had any paranormal activity when he lived there. They sent him this video that they had caught in their living room, and he sent them his orb videos. Family was not at home when this video was captured. Alright, so I've said this before on the channel, I'm not 100% sold on ghosts. I've heard some interesting stories, seen a handful of semi-convincing videos, but I mean, whether you believe in ghosts or not, you gotta admit, well-executed video right here. Hoax or not, it's pretty creepy. Some ghost videos can just be absolute trash, you see nothing, but you do see something running across there. Alright, we're gonna play a little game with this next video. It was captured on a doorbell cam. We see a dude walk onto the porch, he goes to grab the door handle, and then recoils in fear. Try and guess what made him jump back. Pause the video, leave your comments and guesses down below. All right, let's take a look. So I, for one, was not expecting to see what showed up in the footage. Anyone guess it would have been a snake? This video was taken in Salisbury, North Carolina, and posted to TikTok by tbarber959799. Question, is this a common thing in North Carolina? Please let me know down in the comments. I mean, you guys got, gators there and snakes and stuff, but right on the door handle like that? First, how did the guy not see it there? I guess he was looking down and just kind of reached up. I don't know. I love this video though. It's short, but so sweet, and more going on than you think at first. You gotta watch it a few times. Obviously, there's the surprise snake, but you also have the guy's perfect reaction, that woo! Woo! That woo came from the depths of his soul. Like, woo! Ric Flair couldn't have done it better. Woo! I also love the cat just sitting and chilling there looking right at the snake the whole time. Like, it knows it's there. A lot of commenters said they heard the cat warning the guy. I didn't get any indication of that. I think the cat was in full-on cahoots with the snake. But let me know if you picked up a warning from the cat down in the comments. Woo! Well, at least he didn't have this snake on his porch though. Yeah, my jaw literally dropped when I saw this. That looks like what I'd imagine an ancient prehistoric boa looking like. I don't know what the context of this video is, exactly where it was filmed, but what you are looking at is a massive sized anaconda. Terrifying. Imagine stumbling on this while you're walking through the bush. Not that this thing would be great at hiding. You'd have to be blind as a bat not to spot it from a mile away. Anacondas aren't super fast on land, but they move at a good clip in the water. How fast? Up to 10 miles per hour. And to put that into perspective, the fastest human swimmer in the world is Michael Phelps. In his prime, he was swimming at a speed of about 6 miles per hour. So yeah, sure. Not as fast as a lot of other water-dwelling predators, but still, just imagine this thing plowing through the water towards you. This next video looks like the type of explosion you'd see in an action movie, but no, the cameraman didn't just happen to drive on the set of the next Michael Bay movie. This was an unplanned explosion, which means it happened. Take a look. Yeah. That is terrifying. If I saw that, I'd think an invasion was happening. This video comes out of Volgograd, Russia, and the explosion happened at a gas station. There was a fire, and as firefighters were attempting to put it out, a massive ball of flames shot into the sky. You know, as you saw. Vladislav Kopyev, the head of the region's first fire and rescue unit, said, quote, "The firefighters were literally scattered by a blast wave." Yeah, no doubt. Miraculously though, no one was killed. There were 13 people injured though, with 10 being sent to the hospital. Next up, we have some more doorbell camera footage. The more time I spend on the internet watching scary videos, the more I realize I really need to invest in one of these things. The stuff that goes on just right on people's doorsteps in the middle of the night. It's like something out of a zombie movie. And in this case, that might literally be the case. If I woke up seeing this on my front porch, I would be nailing wooden boards to my windows immediately. I don't know where this video was taken, but we see a man who's clearly on some kind of illicit substance trying to break down someone's door, and he's doing like some karate stuff where you picture your hand going right through it. He's just putting on full force into that door. By the looks of it, the guy looks like he wants to feast on some brains or something. Take a look. Yeah, it's a creepy video, but also at the same time, I mean, poor guy. Who the hell knows what's going through his head, what he's on. If anyone's seen this video before and has done some digging into it, give us some context down below, will you? All right, we can't do a scary footage video without at least one UFO, right? Surprised I haven't seen this video before today. Anyway, take a look. I don't really have any context for this one other than it being apparently shot in Colorado. It's a very mysterious piece of footage, probably why it hasn't come up when I've researched UFO footage for the channel before. It does look to be rather old though, has a bit of a VHS quality about it, but it's a cool piece of footage. Looks like 2 fighter jets pursuing an unidentified flying object to me. Or does it? Are they pursuing the thing, or are they escorting it? Or is it some kind of a military flight test captured on camera? Who knows? I'm gonna call this next video To the Rescue. This one is refreshing to say the least. I sifted through a lot of dark stuff to make this video, stuff that just can't be shown here on YouTube, and honestly, I just wanted to talk about something positive for a change. And now the video is less disturbing and more uplifting, but this was still a very scary situation that could have gone very differently. This piece of footage was captured in Mongolia. There was a fire in an apartment building and a man was trapped above, but a group of heroic citizens stepped in and saved the day. Take a look. So first they all team up to move that car that's below the guy's window. They're gonna need some room, of course, to execute this maneuver. They managed to move the vehicle out of the way before unfolding a sheet and keeping it nice and taut to catch his fall. It's pretty great. Faith in humanity restored. And to finish things off, you knew it was coming. It's Bigfoot time. Come on. This footage was captured in Vermont by a man going by Ken's Carpentry on YouTube. He'd set out to capture some footage of a bear and her cubs using his drone. Instead, what he saw was this. So he spots something trudging through the bush and is like, what is that? You even hear him chuckle a bit, so taken aback by what he just saw. He tries to find the thing again and sees it walking out from some trees, and he manages to follow it for a while before it disappears back into the brush. Definitely looks like a big hairy ape creature to me, but like with all Bigfoot videos, could it be a hoax? Of course. I'm just still interested in these types of videos though, mainly because of all the stories you hear about Bigfoot and Sasquatch encounters. Like, there's just way too many to count. And a lot of them are very similar too. I don't know, just seems like there's something going on deep in the woods, and different way all across the world, really.
Number 10, we have a masked monkey wrench wielder. That's a tongue twister, you try it. Anyways, Mary Simonton, the YouTube user who posted the video, says she found out later that this was just a trick-or-treater, but before that, she was initially really scared because she didn't know the context. And me too, like, just have a look for yourself. This trick-or-treater rolls up at 7:06 p.m. on Halloween looking like, as Mary says, something out of the Purge. They are wearing a gray hoodie with a Purge-style mask and wielding a red monkey wrench. Like, while I'm sad this person didn't get the candy they were looking for, as we all should on Halloween, I don't blame Mary for steering clear. If you're at home alone and that shows up at your door, it's just better safe than sorry. Like, seriously, I legit went out trick-or-treating as a serial killer when I was 11 and I was less intimidating. That being said, I was dressed like a spoon while holding a butter knife to a mini box of corn pops, so obviously I wasn't that scary and it wasn't a cool costume, I have to admit, but I'll be better this year, I swear. Anyways, enough about me, let's move on to number 9. This one, we have a masked figure covering the camera. This video was uploaded to YouTube by user Jeff Davis, who said he was notified by his Ring doorbell that someone was at the door. This was shortly after him and his partner put their kids to bed. As you can see in the video, a masked figure comes up to the door and immediately covers the doorbell with what I believe is a sticker. After 4 seconds, the adhesive on one side wears off and suddenly peels away. But when this happens, the person is nowhere to be seen. Like, where did they go? Davis asked in the description whether viewers think it was kids up to no good or something more sinister, but what do you think? When I looked into this user, it didn't seem like he was hunting for views, so I think it's legit. It's creepy thinking that people out there are doing things like this for pranks when it's more than a little unsettling, right? That happened to me. I don't know. But anyways, on to number 8. We have what appears to be a clown with a machete. So another creepy one, alright. So we know that every once in a while there is a creepy clown phase that happens, and one result of these phases are clowns ringing doorbells. This time it's a clown appearing at a house in Toledo, Ohio. In this video we see a person wearing dirty white coveralls with yellow rubber gloves and a clown mask, and they're holding a machete. This person saunters up and hovers around the door before ringing the doorbell about 30 seconds into the video. At this point we get a good look at the creepy mask this person is wearing. This is where I know I'd be freaking out. If I saw this, I'd freaking scream, and I'm not even afraid of clowns. Don't try and tell me that you wouldn't be just at least a little bit scared if this shows up on your doorstep in the middle of the night. Jeez. But next, something good happens, I think. It appears the clown figure realizes the doorbell has a camera and walks off, or he realizes the doorbell has a camera and decides to try another entrance, but who knows? One thing is, with number 7, we know the outcome of the scary situation that was caught on camera. This video takes place in Dallas when the homeowner was at work. 2 men come up to her door and one knocks, but they leave quickly when they see the camera and the doorbell.
Oh, right there.
Already, this seems suspicious. The house's owner, Kay, feels like something's not sitting right too, so she stays on the line with the Ring doorbell cam. It's a good thing she does because within minutes, the two are back and attempting to kick down her door.
Hello? Cops are on their way.
The homeowner, Kay, scares them off just by saying hello. Then, as they run, she warns them that the police are on their way. A little epilogue for you: the two men aren't caught right away, but within a couple of weeks, with the help of Ring, the doorbell provider spreading the footage, the two men are arrested. Which, good thing, because I wouldn't want anyone trying to like kick down my door, because I don't know, what if the hinges are rusty? I'm afraid. Ooh. But not everyone gets as smooth an experience with Ring, the doorbell camera thing, as Kay did, the last homeowner. At number 6, we have the creepy case where the voice answering the doorbell wasn't the voice of the owner of the house. This video was uploaded by YouTube user Brian Goley back in October of 2017. When he got a Ring doorbell from Home Depot, it appeared to have been one that was returned before, slightly opened in the case. And even after having the account apparently wiped, he was hearing another man's voice answering his doorbell for him.
Yo.
Who is this? Why is somebody...
Imagine forgetting your keys and ringing the doorbell to your own house only for someone else to say a little hello? Spooky, right?
Why are you answering my doorbell?
Somehow it's getting disconnected to my doorbell.
With his wife and him thoroughly creeped out that someone else was receiving and answering their alerts, they talked to Ring support again. And they found out that the MAC ID on the box and the MAC ID on the device didn't even match. So watch out with the gadgets you're getting. Eventually, Ring sent Goley a brand new unit, so it was fixed. Talking about getting something new, let's move on to number 5, another creepy dressed up character. YouTube user Katrina Vega was waiting for a UPS package that was scheduled to come at 8 p.m. at night. She gets a Ring notification that someone is at her door, which she ignores, as many of us do, because we all ignore our doors if the doorbell rings. Let's be real. Because we all know that mail people run away once they drop off a package, right? That's the meme. Anyways, she also may have ignored it because she thought nothing was up. The thing is, her package wasn't there when she checked for it. So she checked her doorbell footage and lo and behold, this creepy person in a costume was lingering at her door with a weird lollipop for a whole minute. What if she opened the door? What then? What then? See, this is why I always wait for one of my roomies to answer the door, because I can't deal with this. Do you realize how short I am? My legs are- I can't run from these people. No. But anyways, what's another thing other than creepy late night encounters that you hope not to see when checking your doorbell camera? Fire. At number 4, we have a fire across the street. About 3 years ago in Clovis, California, Catherine Gahn woke up from a Ring notification. Although there was no one at her door, the motion sensor was triggered at 4 in the morning. The bell triggered because a fire was raging across the street. So across the street, all of her neighbors were sound asleep, none the wiser, and things could have taken a turn for the worse. Thank goodness, Gahn raced across the street and woke up her neighbors. So their lives were saved. Next up, at number 3, we have a woman scaring the residents of this home at 2 a.m.
Mom. 30.
This woman shakes her hair at the doorbell camera and is peering into it, kind of like this. And it's not the most comforting or typical greeting at a door for sure. YouTube user Chelsea Brewer uploaded this video earlier this year, asking viewers to help her figure out what the lady is saying. Can you figure it out?
Please, help me, please. Miss Kay.
I hear her begin to whisper sayings like, "Do you want to see?" and the word "mom" in kind of a haunting voice. And she walks off after, but if that happened to me, I know I wouldn't be answering the door. And honestly, I wouldn't be answering the next one either. At number 2, we have footage of a creepy kid in what appears to be a scary baby doll mask. In a video uploaded by Donnie and Leanne on YouTube, the kid, which they believe is a girl, is scary. So the kid rings the bell, backs up a step or two, and then starts to sing ominously before charging at the camera and screaming. I had to watch that clip more than once, and I wish I didn't have to. I can't handle jump scares. So next, we're just gonna move on to the next one. Watch the video again for yourself if you really want to put yourself through that. Okay.
Starting off this countdown, we No one is sure why he would have parked his car in the neighborhood or what might have happened to him after he did. His cell phone signal was picked up at various locations several miles away from where he left his car, but after 2 days the signal died and the trail was lost. And finally, to finish off our list today, we have the mysterious disappearance of Dale Kursed, who was last seen in a surveillance video taken from inside of the glassworks plant where Dale once worked as a security guard. On September 12th of 1987, Dale had been working the evening shift at the plant when all of a sudden an unknown masked man entered the building. Dale was last seen leading the man through the building while staring directly at the plant's security cameras, possibly in duress, before disappearing out of frame, never to be seen again. However, the masked intruder who made off with $250,000 worth of platinum pipe is seen again, wheeling a large bag out of the plant. While some believe that Dale, who had been in debt at the time, was working with the masked man, his family members maintain that he was an innocent bystander in the incident, and that it's likely the bag they saw leaving the plant in the wheelbarrow had contained Dale's body. To this day, no trace of Dale or the stolen merchandise have ever been found, and the case remains a mystery.
Starting off at number 10 are the superhuman twins. Now, back in May of 2008, Swedish twin sisters Ursula and Sabina Eriksson were filmed repeatedly running across a busy M6 highway. They were hit by oncoming traffic multiple times, and then Ursula even went under the wheels of a large truck, yet remained completely unharmed. As the twins are being talked to by the police, one of them gets free and runs right in front of an oncoming lorry, and then the other one runs out as well and gets hit by a car. The footage freezes right before she gets hit by the lorry for graphic purposes, and then restarts as the police call the paramedics. Now, the lorry twin is in critical condition, but the other one is remarkably fine despite being in an accident that would usually kill someone. The car twin then just gets up and starts running after fighting off a policewoman, and it actually ends up taking 6 police officers to take her down. Her strength was somehow unparalleled, and no one knows how. Apparently, they both suffer from a very rare form of shared psychosis where the mental health of one influenced the other one's sanity. Like, when you watch this footage, you're like, these women are literally just running for it, just trying to get hit by these cars. Coming in at number 9 are the clowns of Springfield. Not the Simpsons Springfield, but after watching the footage, I really wished it was in cartoon land and not real life. So back at the start of October in 2014, multiple home security cameras captured various sinister clown sightings. And it wasn't even, oh, like they were walking by and the camera saw it. Like, no, these clowns would straight up come to the house's porch and stare into the camera like this. Like, why always a creepy head tilt? It's really weird. Now, one clown stared at the camera from outside the gate for a while before coming in. Another one holding balloons came into someone's porch and stared at their camera, then picked up a decorative pumpkin and started punching it for the camera before tearing it apart and throwing it on the ground. Another one just stood in front of the camera looking creepy as hell and then lighting his face on and off. And I can't tell if it's the mask he's wearing or it's a torch he's using under his shirt. I really don't know. He then tells the camera not to tell anyone by doing this before leaving and lighting his face up one last time outside the gate. I mean, if it was part of some Halloween prank, then I totally get it, but this was 3.5 weeks before Halloween, so was it really just a prank? Or 2014, was that when the whole clown craze was a thing? Surely not. Surely it wasn't that long ago. At number 8, we have the Miami cannibal attack. Yep, you guys, can you even imagine? I can't even imagine. So this happened during Memorial Day weekend back in May of 2012. A 31-year-old Rudy Eugene had just been at Urban Beach weekend and was walking back to the mainland. Now, as he's walking, he sees 65-year-old homeless man Ronald Popo sitting on the sidewalk and then suddenly attacks him. In the footage, you can see him approaching Ronald, but then our view gets blocked by a palm frond, which is just bloody brilliant. A few minutes of attacking later, you see Eugene throwing Ronald down the sidewalk while still attacking him. He starts tearing his clothes off and eventually chewed parts of his face off, which I don't even understand. Mind you, many cyclists and cars actually pass the scene before actually stopping to see what the hell is happening. Now, 15 minutes later, a police car pulls up and fires 5 shots in an attempt to stop the attack. When the footage zooms in at the very end, you can see both men naked on the floor as paramedics take Ronald away. Now, initially, investigators assumed drugs or bath salts were behind the attack, but post-mortem autopsy results showed 0 drugs in his system, so we have no idea why this man did what he did. Who just walks down the street and is like, you know what? I feel like eating a face, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do today. And no! creep. Filling out number 7 slot is TV Santa Claus. Now honestly, there's so many things I say on this channel that I'm like, wow, never thought I'd see the day I'd be saying that, and TV Santa Claus is one of them. Now on the night of August 22nd, 2018, several CCTV cameras recorded a mysterious unknown figure dubbed TV Santa Claus leaving vintage TV box sets on people's porches in Grey Oaks, Virginia. Which I mean, isn't illegal, it's just weird. They were never caught though and did the same thing this year as well. Now the footage shows a person wearing a blue jumpsuit, wearing a TV as a head and just depositing the TV sets on the porches. This year they hit 50 homes in Henrico County and police quickly collected all the sets and told residents to report it straight away if it happens to them as well. I mean, it could be a harmless prank, could be part of a bigger, more dastardly scheme, who really knows? I certainly don't. TV Santa Claus, you're not doing anything illegal, but it's weird. Stop it. Now at number 6 is The Dazed Woman. Now this was posted by YouTuber Rainy Schuler back in 2013, and in it you can see a woman walking out of an opening in the trees in the darkness. It's raining this night, it's cold, and she looks like she has no idea what she's doing, almost like she's unaware she's even there. She stops at one point, looks into the trees, and walks into them for a minute, and then re-emerges clutching her chest. She then stands for a few minutes, walks a bit here and there for 10 minutes, and that's literally it. Mind you, this house is located in the mountains, so there's no neighbors close by, there are no roads nearby either, so the real question here is, baby, what is you doing? Coming in at number 5 is The Peeping Tom. So back in January of 2016, reality TV star Daniel Yancey from the show Jersey Belle spotted a disgusting sight on her CCTV security footage. On what appears to be either her back porch or her front porch, you see a completely naked man open the door and crawl in. He has a sock on his private part and he's also wearing a Ronald Reagan mask. I mean, interesting choices. I'm not gonna slate him for lack of creativity, that's for damn sure. He looks like he's going to look into the windows but then quickly runs away after hearing a sound, afraid of being caught. Now the whole thing is a mix of creepy and funny, and like, how is this guy not cold is my question. Like, you're naked. It is cold. At number 4 is The Laughing Woman. Now this one truly perplexed me because I just don't get it. I just don't know what's going on. Now, this elevator camera footage was released in Feb of 2015, but it was actually taken in 2006, which kind of explains the slightly dated clothing. Can you imagine? I'm calling 2006 dated. That was only 13 years ago, damn it. Like, what's going on? Now either way, in the video there's this woman standing at the back of this full elevator and she just bursts out into laughter. And not even like a small giggle when you remember something funny, like no, she's hysterically laughing. Even hitting the people around her like ha ha ha. Like, okay, who are you? People get off and new ones come on and she's still laughing, and weirdly enough, no one around her ever asks what the hell she's laughing at. They just kind of let it happen near them. But the weirdest part is when she's alone in the elevator and she laughs even more hysterically and literally starts rolling off the walls. She sort of puts herself back together when other people enter the elevator, but that doesn't stop her from continuing to laugh. Now who is she? No idea. Why is she laughing? No clue. Not a damn clue. Filling our number 3 slot is The Licker. This one is just so effing weird, I don't even know what to say about it. So in January of this year, a man was caught on a family surveillance system licking their doorbell for 3 hours straight. Roberto Daniel Arroyo made his way to the house, and thankfully the parents weren't home, but the children were. The couple was soon alerted about movement outside their door, and then of course comes the sensual licking footage. He then peed in the front yard, so that was, you know, like a great nice cherry on top. Like, I don't know what level of drugs this man was on to do this, but I need me some of those. Like, I'll take whatever he's having. Roberto was found very quickly because he kept looking right into the bloody camera and then was charged with prowling and theft. I don't know what he stole really, other than the house's innocence and dignity, but sure. We'll leave it at that. Now at number 2 is the Porch mystery. So I don't actually truly know what's going on in this one, so just bear with me. From the footage you see someone leaving right after putting a blurry object onto the ground on someone's porch. You then hear them driving away and their dog barking, but that's not even the focal point of the video. Let's just disregard that. Shouldn't even have to mention it. Why am I still talking? Now that thing, whatever it is that they leave on the porch, starts moving despite being inanimate. It then grows and starts floating up as a black entity and just hovering there, and I have no clue what it is at all. Like, is it a floating black phantom? Is it an orb? A spirit? Like, did this person just leave a bloody spirit on someone's porch? Like, how rude is that? How rude is that? And finally, at number 1 is The Girl, and this one is honestly chilling and had me quite worried when I watched it the first time. So back in August of 2018, the resident of a home in the Sunrise Ranch neighborhood in Montgomery, Texas, found footage that scared the out of her. Someone had rang her doorbell in the middle of the night, but ignoring it and thinking it was probably a homeless or drunk person, the woman just went back to bed. The next morning, after looking at the camera footage, she called the police straight away. In the footage, you see a disheveled, half-dressed girl that's wearing some sort of handcuff or hand restraint, and she hurriedly rings the doorbell and then runs away. Now, law enforcement couldn't find her on the missing persons list, so they started canvassing the neighborhood. The police confirmed the woman was alive after a house call was made. The call featured a man threatening to commit suicide, and when officers arrived at the scene, they found the man, Dennis Collins, already dead from a gunshot wound. Turns out the woman in the footage was Dennis's girlfriend, who was a victim of domestic violence. The girl, that we dubbed Lauren, shared that she woke up next to Dennis, who she'd been dating for 4 months at the time, to find him kneeling on her chest and stuffing clothes into her mouth. And then the events that followed led her to that doorbell. I don't know how she got free, like I don't even know what she went through, but I really do feel for her. Like that would have been a lot.
Number 10, doorbell liquor. And immediately into the weird. Here we go. I'm wasting no time today. This one's short and sweet. Not much explaining to do here. Back in 2019, a man was caught on camera approaching a home in a neighborhood in Salinas, California. He was seen through this Ring camera. Now, he doesn't say much. He just shows up and immediately he starts licking the doorbell. Not the camera, but the actual button, like the actual doorbell. He must have rang the bell thousands of times because he did this for 3 hours straight. The homeowner said in a following interview after seeing the footage, they said, and I quote, "Oh boy, that is just weird." Yeah, oh boy indeed, that's quite weird. I'm getting a doorbell camera tomorrow. Number 9, Vegas visitor. This one was quite recent. Watching the video absolutely freaks me out. This is terrifying. This happened just over a year ago in Las Vegas. This was at 8:20 p.m. It's barely nighttime, and this man shows up out of nowhere, and the doorbell cam catches him asking to come inside the house. He's asking the homeowner,